Hey, is it worth it?
Oh, yeah, it's worth it. If you're strong enough. Your reality, no.
Well, good morning. Welcome to another episode of Can We Put the Twister Truck Back Together? So, the last time I left y'all, we were having all those electrical problems. And if I can find my diagram here, oh, here it is. I enlisted the help of a buddy of mine who is an electrical genius. And we printed up some diagrams, and what we found was that the headlight switch, because remember we're having problems with the headlights, the left rear tail light and brake light, interior lights, dash lights, mirrors, blocks, windows, just a whole bunch of weird stuff. So what we found is that the G200 ground controls almost everything in the interior. So he said, okay, pull the kick panel back off. So he did that, and if you look right there, there's a ground broke off that's supposed to go right there, and I somehow overlooked that when I put this thing back together. So that was broke, so we grounded that, and everything in the interior came back. And how we basically found that is we started testing the switch for power and ground, and it only had power on the locks and window switch. Everything had power, like everything on here had power. No ground. That is not right. So that's how we traced it back to the G200 ground. So once we got that figured out, we still don't have a left brake light, left blinker, or headlights. So we then said, okay, it's probably in this switch, or the blinkers could be in the multifunction switch, because what we also found in the diagram is the headlight switch right here sends power to the multifunction switch. So before we can dismiss the multifunction switch for being good or bad, we have to check the headlight switch. And the headlight switch was completely corroded and melted together. I mean, it just absolutely destroyed this plug. So we're gonna cut one off of this other truck, this parts truck, and we're gonna depin this and replace a couple of the pins that we have to, and use the new end off of that one. So once we get that fixed, we should definitely have headlights and maybe dash lights, and then we'll be able to see if the multifunction switch is actually good or bad. I think it's probably bad because we still had right blinker but no left blinker. So, you know, that's kind of a toss-up. Now, he did say he ran into before where it had a second gen that there were no dash lights and no cab lights because they're together on the headlight switch. And what was happening is it was missing one ground on the back of the switch to where the headlights and stuff would work, but the dash lights and the cab lights wouldn't work. Of course, we don't have any cab lights right now, so that's still up in the air. So I'm about to pull that thing apart and get what we need off of it, start cleaning some stuff up, and when Jerry gets here, we're gonna start fixing it, and then we'll see what works. All right, it's been many hours later, and I didn't take you along for the ride of fixing everything, so we'll just give a quick tour of the truck, and then I'll explain what was wrong. Okay, so everything on this thing works, including the power mirrors. So here's what the deal was. Primarily, the ground that I forgot here in the kick panel, that took care of most of the interior stuff. We still had no backlights in the cluster, no backlights on the climate control. The radio would not power up, but the backlights worked. So there was a broke wire behind the radio, and that took care of the power issue, but the screen was bad and the radio wouldn't light up. So I robbed the one out of that truck. The climate control just had bad bulbs. The cluster was bad, so I swapped the Mint truck's cluster in it, but luckily Dodge lets you unbolt every individual gauge, so I put the original speedometer in this so the mileage is correct. As you saw, the headlight switch was melted and burnt, rusty, so we spliced in a new harness and a new headlight switch. The multifunction switch was also bad. Remember, I had already replaced the ignition switch, so most of the electrical stuff in this truck has had a hard time for whatever reason, whether that's moisture in the truck from sitting or a past issue, you know, or who knows what they did, shorted out, I don't know. But everything works, the windows, everything, locks, it's great. So as far as the lights, there was a bad socket here, fix that. This tail light, once we got everything fixed, this tail light actually swapped with that tail light, so this one started working and that one was bad. And basically what it was doing was a ground issue back here, so we just added a new ground wire, and both tail lights now work like they should. So everything's fixed. The only thing that I don't think works is the third brake light. That's probably just a bulb. I mean, even the hood light works. So yeah, I got the engine cover on. Did a few other small things here and there. I did fix the tailgate because the bezel was off of it because you had to squeeze the rods to get it to open. Now it opens like it should. So it's getting really close. I still got to cut the hole in the floor for the transmission and transfer case, and put the trans in, transfer case, drive shafts. Let's see what else. The e-brake cable, I got a down pipe. I need a clamp. So do that. We're doing oil change, and the vacuum lines, and then the power steering pump. So aside from all of those things, it's done. So probably be another video or two on this, and we'll be driving this thing, and I can't wait because it's been way too long.